Yo, what is up, YouTube? All right, we are going into a deck profile here for the Ice Barrier Runick. Little update, made it into Master 5, was hoping to get into during this weekend before I left to go out of town. But yeah, so wanted to jump in real quick, kind of run through the card ratio. I'm going to try to keep it quick here, and then I'm going to show two different lists because I'm still kind of working out which one I like better. But I was primarily using this one and wanted to shout out pretty much the main deck right here ratios. I'm copying a list that I saw off a guy named Mazinger. He is a guy that's usually chefing up some pretty interesting lists, and he'll pop up all the time given replays to MasterDuel Central if you ever see them on YouTube. But yeah, so the main deck here, running through it super quick. It's 2 Hexa, 3 Maxi, 2 Mirror Mage, 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Revealer, and then we have 1 Speaker, 1 Raiho, we've got 2 Georges, 1 Nibiru, 3 Medallion, 1 Runick, Fountain, and then we have the Freezing Chains, 1 copy of Freezing Chains, 2 Called By, 1 Crossout, the Runick package, so 2 Runick Tip, 3 Flashing Fire, 2 Freezing Curses, 2 Slumber, 1 Smiting Storm, 1 Droplet, and 1 Dispelling, and then 1 Imperm. And pretty much Imperm and Nibiru are situational and crossout calls, but you get a lot of draw power, so having 1 copy doesn't matter. Running type 40, you can see it often. You can draw 7 on this. Yeah, and then extra deck here, Hugin, 2 copies of Hugin, 1 Jerry, 1 Herald of Arclight. We've got 1 Coral Dragon, 1 F.A. Dawn Dragster. This is some of my secret sauce here. And then we've got the Dragite, Trishula, Croco Dragon, Baron de Fleur, Chang Ying. We've got Azurine, the Lancea, and then Trishula Zero Dragon, and then 1 copy of Anemone. And so this is one version, and then real quick, let me go to my deck list. And this is the other version that I've been messing around with, which is running the Deep Sea Diva instead of Revealer, basically. Route, and then going more board breaker approach, so running 1 Talents, 2 Droplet, and then running similar ratios on everything else. And then in the extra deck, slightly different here. In the end, I'm running 7 Anemone, I have a Sprite Sprint, and I have a Little Knight, SP Little Knight. I'm trying to think what the other big standout is that I'm missing with this version. But I think it's pretty similar. Yeah, I can't think of it right now. But either way, this is another, interesting tactic where you're gonna normal summon Deep Sea Diva. Diva searches for Hexa, summons Hexa, Hexa pitches Mirror Mage, and then right away off of if you have a Runick spell and you go into Hugin and Diva go into Herald super easy. So you get a lot of like under Nibiru plays where you get interesting combos out. But yeah, so jumping into the replays, we'll try to go there quickly, but I was mainly using the first version where I have Revealer, so you'll see lots of that. But yeah. All right, hopping on board the first replay here. And on the first replay, we have an interesting hand. So this hand kind of dies the Ash Blossom real hard, but we just have to live and die by the Sword. So we're going to use the Medallion. We get a Maxi Chain to it, which is a little bit rough, but we're going to go ahead and throw out the Ash Blossom. And then now the Medallion is going to search for a starter for us, so we're going to grab Hexa. Hexa is going to be normaled, and then we're going to pitch the Mirror Mage. Mirror Mage is then going to search for a Georges. Georges is going to come out. Georges is going to try to special summon the Mirror Mage, but we get hit by Effect Failure. And then luckily we do have the Freezing Chains in hand. Otherwise we would have had a rough one. We could have gone into Anemone right here. I don't know if I was actually running it at this time in these ratios. Oh no, this is when I was practicing with one sprint. But basically, so Anemone would have been another option where I could have linked these two to Anemone. Anemone reborn Mirror Mage pitch Anemone. But instead I was using sprint. So I didn't have that line available, so I was real lucky we had the Freezing Curses. I decided to go straight for a draw 3 off the Croco Dragon, showing a little bit alternative to the standard route. And then we hit a Imperm. We're going to set that. Raiho's kind of dead in hand. Dispelling, I don't really want to go for the Fountain. I could have tried to go for it, but I think I was waterlocked, theoretically. And it looks like it's going to be Yubel. They do set up the Nightmare Throne. They're going to go for Yubel, searching to set in the back row. I'm going to chain Imperm because I don't want Nightmare Pain to get on board. And you will see that as a reoccurring theme throughout the replays. Anytime I'm playing Yubel, it's going to be constantly trying to just stop Nightmare Pain from getting on the board. But he does go into a Shavara and then chain Maxi. So second Maxi, I do have another Ash Blossom, so you know that's real depressing. There we go. We're going to pop the Slumber now. Slumber is going to get out Hugin. Hugin is going to pitch our Maxi, and then we're going to search for Fountain. Fountain is then going to get us access to drawing 3. Search for a Runick Destruction. That way I've got it to out the Nightmare Pain if they ever do search for it. Big draw 3, nothing really usable off of it though. And then I'm going to use these to go into Dawn Dragster, get another Spell Trap negate up, and we're going to normal summon Ice Barrier. Ice Barrier pitch a card, bring out the Mirror Mage. That's going to also let us get Georges involved. We're going to go straight into Lancea. Lancea is on board, so we're going to pitch our other guy with our Mirror Mage. And then with the Mirror Mage, we're going to go into Coral Dragon. And then Coral Dragon and these two are going to go into Dragite. Dragite is going to be another spell and trap negate. And we're going to draw 1. And we got a Freezing Curses, so it's another negate. We pass through battle phase. And here we go. They shuffle back. Perfect. I'm going to bring out my Raiho. He's going to hit it with the Phantom of Yubel. So it's just going to be a pop summon for him. But I'm going to Ash it because I don't want him to get the standard Yubel, and I want him to commit these other 2 cards in hand. And boom, brings it back. I'm now going to get the Raiho out off of this. And he sets the back row, so he would have been negated with all of his other effects. All right, so that was game number 1 there. We'll go ahead and move on into game number 2. All right, so game number 2 is going to be a pretty quick one. This one, I believe, was a 2-turn barn burner, we'll call it. They won the coin flip, chose to go first, which is always depressing whenever you're trying to rank up, but that's okay. Looks like it is going to be some sort of Yubel type deck again, but they had Chaos Summoning Beast, just normal summoned it into Almirage, and then shuffle 2 back to go into the Phantom, and so that is a really bricked hand. I'm going to use Medallion search for Hexa. I'm going to then use Slumber to bring out Hugin, trying to bait out the Phantom, and I was planning to call by it. But then he does chain an Effect Veiler, so then I'm kind of forced to call by the Effect Veiler, but because Phantom is still live on the board, I now have another interesting way to play around the Phantom before we go into committing our Ice Barrier combo. So now we're going to search for Fountain, set up Fountain, Runick Tip is then going to get played, and we're going to search for Freezing Curses, and then we're going to Freezing Curses the Phantom of Yubel, and then right now that's going to let us draw 3. Off the draw 3, we're going to see what we get. Boom, huge hand, and we go ahead, normal summon Hexa, use Hexa. Hexa's going to pitch our Mirror Mage, and then Mirror Mage is then going to kind of continue from there. So it was basically full combo. We have Speaker in hand. We've got, a level 2 on board. This would have gone into a level 2. So without being waterlocked yet, I could have gone into Herald. So it was a beautiful, beautiful hand. But yep, there we go. That is another victory there. Just wanted to show how strong the two engines are together. When you have a really good hand, you can bait a lot of interaction. But yeah. Okay, moving into game number 3. Game number 3 is another interesting one here. I really had fun during this game, I'm pretty sure. We do have 2 Runics in hand, and then we have a Hexa with a Medallion. So we're going to use the Hexa, pitch mirror search for Georges, and then I'm going to use Medallion, search for Speaker. Then off of this, I'm going to go Georges, reborn the Mirror Mage, Speaker comes out. This is summon number 4, and then summon number 5. We go into Baron de Fleur. So we are protected from the Biru now. We're going to pitch, and then this is going to set up 3 tokens. We do have a draw 4 combo incoming. So now we're going to go into a Coral Dragon, and then we're going to use the Speaker in the graveyard to banish and summon a token. All 4 of these bodies go right into the Croco Dragon. And then we're going to chain link 1 Croco Dragon, chain link 2 Coral Dragon. See what we get. We got an Imperm, draw, and then we set 5. So we got a Flashing Fire, a Runic Destruction, Freezing Curses, a Called By, and an Imperm. So huge amount of back row. I'm just going to commit the Maxi in the draw phase. He's going to cross out. I decide after thinking for a long time, I really thought for a long time, but I decide to commit the Baron, and then off in the standby phase, I'm going to swap the Baron out, and then this is going to bring out the Georges. Georges is going to reborn the Hexa Spirit, and then now the graveyard is turned off. So this is a really big play. He ends up passing from it entirely. And then I use the one tuner, level 1 tuner, Hexa Spirit, and the Croco Dragon to reborn our Baron de Fleur. Negate is back live. We hit for 5,000, and then we're going to pass. And that is going to cause the scoop. All right, and coming into the final game here, it is going to be a super interesting one. I say that at the beginning of all of them this video, but I'm really feeling that way. No, I really enjoy this deck. So we have 2 Runics in hand. We're going to use the Smiting Storm. We're going to pitch the Nibiru because I don't really care about Nibiruing my own field. We're going to try to go for a draw 3 combo. So we're going to use Runic Tip. Tip is going to search for Slumber. That's going to banish a Butler off the top. So now we remember here that it is a Labyrinth deck. So what I am trying to do is draw 3 and hope we can set up some Omni Negates. I do get the Revealer. I'm gonna pitch the Ash Blossom, which seems crazy, right? But I decide I'm trying to go for control here. And right now I'm gonna go for trying to attempt to get some sort of draw. And we get the Coral Dragon. I'm then going to search for a Georges. Georges is going to hit the graveyard. This is going to reborn the Revealer. I'm going to link these 2 off into a Lancea. Lancea is on the board, and then we're going to use the 2 tokens and our level 6 Georges to go into an Adamancipator Dragite. I set the called by, and then we let him go ahead and pitch his furniture. So now I'm gonna max C again, and then I am going, or I think that was I just max C'd the first time, but he does go right into a Typhon, so it's gonna stop him from special summoning anymore, and I'm just gonna chain the Flashing Fire to its summon, pop it, and then he sets all of his back row. So now what I basically have here is if he gets any bodies on board, Lancea is going to make it so they can't resolve any effects by getting Raiho out. He is going to use his Big Welcome, so I'm going to chain my Dragite to stop the Big Welcome. He's going to chain Trap Trick, and he's going to set up an Impermanence. So now all I have to do is stop one more trap, and he's done for the rest of the turn. Big Banish is off the top. We're going to draw 2. Big Medallion. Medallion Search Georges. Then we're going to normal summon Hexa, Georges summon. This is going to bring back a Revealer. And then all 3 of these are going to make a level 7 Dawn Dragster. So we're going to get another Spell Trap Negate up. And we go into Battle Phase skip with 8,400 on board, basically. But we're going to go into trying to get another level 10. And we get a Baron de Fleur out because we're not locked into water. And that is going to cause the scoop. So on his turn, I had Spell Trap Negate, Omni Negate, Reborn Raiho, no cards in hand. Everything's negated that gets resolved on the field. It's big. That's big. But yep, so those were a lot of the Diamond 2 to Diamond 1 games leading up into the Master Climb. So wanted to just kind of get that done real quick. Not a lot of action in those replays with Lancea, but I'll tell you what, obviously you can see this is trying to be more competitive, and when you're trying to go into strong opening boards, if you can go into Omni Negate, so over Lancea, go for it. But if you can go into like Lancea with Dragite or something to back up the board from a evenly matched, it's definitely a huge scenario. But yeah, so that is gonna do it here for the end of the video. I appreciate anybody that stuck around to the end. I did get a pure version of the deck together as well that I'm trying to work on ratios more. Currently was just running with a similar list with Super Poly that Decade was running, just to kind of get used to the feels. But I'll tell you what, there is a 45 card version of Runick where I cut some of these hand traps and cut Super Poly, and I run Runick in here with Azurine, and I haven't mapped it out all the way, but it was feeling good in testing. And I, feel like there's a lot of different ways you can kind of cook up this deck. So I'm enjoying it a lot. But yeah, all right, everybody have a good time, and we will see you on the next one. Be on the lookout. I'm going to be, after I'm back, hoping to try to assemble some Voiceless Voice soon to get that out, and just going to be trying to play through Master, just messing around.
Artificial love, we just make it up, 'cause reality will never be good enough. And even if it was, we just mess it up, 'cause we already